Commander Jack Frost stared at the blinking console, his mouth hanging open. Say that again. Communications Officer Zara Quinn cleared her throat. I said, sir, that I believe we've just received our first extraterrestrial transmission. And I also believe that we may have responded by accidentally threatening to destroy their entire civilization. Jack ran his hand through his prematurely silver hair. How exactly does one accidentally threaten an alien species? Well, Zara paused, fiddling with her neon blue earpiece. The transmission came through on frequencies we typically use for automated garbage disposal commands. The computer sent back standard protocol response which, when translated through their apparent communication matrix, seems to have conveyed, identify yourselves or be compacted into space dust. Jack blinked slowly. That's not ideal. No sir, not ideal at all, Zara agreed, her fingers dancing across the holographic interface. But here's the weird part. They've responded, and they don't seem upset. If anything, they sound impressed. The massive viewscreen in the United Earth Defense Force headquarters flickered to life, displaying a series of mathematical equations followed by what appeared to be crude pictograms of bipedal creatures bowing to stick figures that looked suspiciously human. Admiral Helena Ortiz burst through the doors, flanked by sweating aides. Frost. Quinn. What in the seven hells of bureaucracy is happening? I was in the middle of my granddaughter's birthday party. Jack snapped to attention. Admiral, we've made first contact with an alien civilization and may have accidentally declared war on them. The Admiral stared. Of course you did. It's Tuesday. Zara raised her hand slightly. Actually, they seem to like it. The threatening, I mean. Come again. The Admiral's perfectly sculpted eyebrow arched impossibly high. Based on their response patterns, they appear to respect displays of dominance. They've sent coordinates for a meeting point just beyond Mars' orbit. The Admiral took a deep breath. So let me get this straight. Humanity's first official contact with an alien species began with us threatening to compress them into cosmic recycling material, and instead of obliterating us with what I assume is their vastly superior technology, they want to arrange a playdate. That's surprisingly accurate, ma'am, Jack admitted. God help us all. The Admiral slumped into the nearest chair. All right, assemble our top linguists, diplomats, and military personnel. And someone find me coffee that doesn't taste like it was filtered through gym socks. Within hours, the United Earth Defense Force headquarters buzzed with activity. Linguists argued over pictogram interpretations while military strategists prepared for every scenario from peaceful exchange to full-scale invasion. Dr. Talia Nguyen, head of xenolinguistics, approached Jack with a tablet. Commander, I think we've deciphered more of their communication. These aliens, they call themselves Veldorians, have a hierarchical society built around shows of strength. So our accidental threat was like saying hello by flexing our muscles? Jack asked. More like walking into a bar and punching the biggest guy there, Talia clarified. In their culture, it's a power move that demands respect. Zara joined them, eyes wide with excitement. They're sending another transmission. The view screen flickered again, now showing a creature with 6 limbs, iridescent scales, and what appeared to be multiple breathing apparatuses. It spoke in a series of clicks and whistles that the computer struggled to translate. Formidable, humans, approach, with, appropriate, deference, to, your, superior, posturing. The computer's monotone voice paused between each word. Jack leaned toward Zara. Are we sure the translation matrix isn't just having a stroke? Pretty sure, she whispered back. The alien continued, we will arrive to assess your worthiness as potential allies or conquests. Well, that's reassuring, Jack muttered. They're either going to be our friends or enslave us. Admiral Ortiz stepped forward. Send this response. We await your arrival and will prepare a suitable demonstration of Earth's capabilities. After the transmission ended, the Admiral turned to her team. I want our biggest ships, our shiniest weapons, and our most intimidating personnel front and center when they arrive. If they respect strength, we'll give them a show they won't forget. But ma'am, protested diplomatic envoy Preston Lee, shouldn't we be extending an olive branch rather than rattling our sabers? Preston, the Admiral sighed, when you receive wedding invitations, do you show up in swimwear? No. You dress appropriately for the occasion. These aliens expect a show of force, so we'll dress for the occasion. 3 days later, Earth's combined military forces positioned their most impressive fleet in Mars orbit. Jack and Zara found themselves aboard the flagship, the UES Indomitable, along with Admiral Ortiz and a hastily assembled first contact team. They're approaching, announced the sensor officer. Single vessel, approximately twice the size of the Indomitable. Jack peered at the view screen. The alien ship resembled a massive, gleaming cuttlefish, its hull rippling with colors that shouldn't exist in normal space. That's intimidating, he admitted. Remember, Admiral Ortiz addressed the bridge crew, chins up, spine straight, look like you'd eat their children for breakfast without breaking a sweat. Is that really necessary? Zara whispered. Do you want to be the one responsible for humanity becoming the galaxy's doormat? Jack whispered back. The alien vessel halted precisely 1,000 kilometers from Earth's fleet. A moment of tense silence passed before the communications array chimed. Incoming transmission, Zara announced. Putting it on screen. The Veldorian that appeared had more elaborate breathing apparatus than the one they'd seen before, and decorative metallic plates adorned its scales. Greetings, fearsome humans, the translation came through clearer this time. I am Supreme Commander Calthor of the Veldorian hegemony. Your display of aggression has caught the attention of our Council of Dominance. Admiral Ortiz stepped forward. I am Admiral Helena Ortiz of Earth. We acknowledge your impressive approach. The alien made a sound like marbles in a garbage disposal, which the computer helpfully translated as laughter. Your planet's immediate threatening response to our probe shows admirable protective instincts, Calthor continued. Most species plead for mercy or offer resources upon first contact. None have ever threatened to compact us into space dust. Most refreshing. Jack and Zara exchanged glances. We prefer direct communication, Admiral Ortiz improvised. Earth does not cower. Precisely why we've come in person rather than obliterating your solar system from a safe distance, Calthor replied cheerfully. We request permission to board your vessel for preliminary dominance negotiations. After the transmission ended, diplomatic envoy Lee clutched his tablet like a security blanket. What exactly are dominance negotiations? Given what we know of their culture, Talia offered, possibly a ritual display of strength? Maybe comparing military achievements? Whatever it is, Admiral Ortiz declared, we're going to excel at it. Humanity's future might depend on how well we posture in the next few hours. The docking procedure took 20 minutes, during which Jack felt his stomach trying to escape through his throat. When the airlock finally cycled open, 6 Veldorians entered the ship. In person, they were even more alien, each standing nearly 7 feet tall with scales that shifted color with their movements. Supreme Commander Calthor stepped forward, raised all 6 limbs high, and let out a screech that made everyone wince. Admiral Ortiz, without missing a beat, pulled out her ceremonial pistol, fired it into the ceiling, and bellowed, "Welcome to human territory." The aliens fell silent. The humans held their breath. Then Calthor's translator crackled, "Exceptional. We shall begin the Feast of Alliance immediately." As the startled humans were ushered toward the ship's mess hall, Jack leaned over to Zara. So threatening aliens works out okay sometimes. Apparently, she whispered back. But maybe don't put that in the official first contact protocols just yet. Just as they reached the mess hall doors, alarms began blaring throughout the ship. The tactical officer's voice came over the intercom, multiple vessels just emerged from FTL at the edge of the system. They're not Veldorian, and they're charging weapons. Calthor turned all four of his eyes toward Admiral Ortiz. Ah, perfect timing. Now we can truly see how humans handle a genuine threat. The Kraxel Dominion has been pursuing us for some time. They believe we are, how do you say, easy pickings. Jack stared at the tactical display showing 20 warships approaching. You led hostile aliens to our solar system. On purpose? Of course, Calthor seemed genuinely confused by Jack's reaction. How else would we properly evaluate your combat capabilities? Theoretical discussions lack authenticity. Admiral Ortiz's eye twitched slightly. Commander Frost, battle stations. Communications Officer Quinn, inform Earth we have visitors. She turned to Calthor with a forced smile. Supreme Commander, it seems our dominance negotiations have entered Phase 2. As the ship's crew scrambled to their positions, Jack couldn't help muttering to himself, human diplomacy, Lesson 1, threaten first, ask questions later, and somehow end up in an interstellar war before lunch. The Kraxel warships looked like metallic sea urchins, bristling with what Jack assumed were weapons. His assumption was confirmed when one of them fired a blinding purple beam that narrowly missed the UES Indomitable. Evasive maneuvers, Admiral Ortiz commanded with remarkable calm. And return fire with the main batteries. Let's show our new friends how humans handle uninvited guests. Earth's fleet moved with practiced precision despite never having engaged in actual combat against alien vessels. The Indomitable's railguns launched hypervelocity projectiles that tore through the first Kraxel ship's outer defenses. Supreme Commander Calthor watched the tactical display with all four eyes blinking in different patterns. Fascinating primitive weaponry. Kinetic impacts rather than energy disruption fields. We find that sometimes the old ways are still effective, Jack replied, trying to sound confident while silently praying the ship's shields would hold. Zara moved closer to them. Commander, I'm picking up communications between the Kraxel ships. They seem surprised. Surprised by what? That we're fighting back. Jack asked. No, Calthor interjected. They're surprised you're allied with us. The Veldorian hegemony has a certain reputation. Admiral Ortiz narrowly avoided slamming into a console as the ship lurched from a glancing hit. And what reputation would that be, exactly? We are known as gatherers of strong allies, Calthor said with what Jack interpreted as pride. The Kraxel have been trying to prove their dominance over us for cycles. So this isn't just a test, Jack said slowly. You're recruiting us. Of course. Your immediate threat response indicated you would make excellent additions to our alliance network. We only align with species that demonstrate appropriate aggressive tendencies. The Kraxel ships were pulling back, regrouping at a safer distance. A transmission request flashed on the communications console. Shall I accept? Zara asked. Admiral Ortiz straightened her uniform. Put them through. The creature that appeared on screen resembled a mass of writhing tentacles surrounding a central eye. Its voice sounded like someone gargling gravel underwater. Humans, the translation came through. We did not know you had joined the Veldorian coalition. This complicates matters. We're full of surprises, Admiral Ortiz replied smoothly. Perhaps you should reconsider your approach. The Kraxel commander's eye narrowed. This sector dispute does not concern your species. The Veldorians seek only to use you as cannon fodder. Before Admiral Ortiz could respond, Calthor stepped forward. These humans are not mere allies, Kraxel filth. They are our honored violence partners. They threaten to compact us into space dust upon first contact. The Kraxel commander's tentacles writhed frantically. Impossible. No species threatens the Veldorians without consequences. I have evidence of their admirable hostility, Calthor declared, transmitting the initial communication exchange. After reviewing it, the Kraxel fell silent before speaking again. We will withdraw to reassess the strategic situation. But this matter is not concluded. When the transmission ended, Admiral Ortiz turned to Calthor. Would you care to explain what just happened? It's quite simple, Calthor replied. The Kraxil are bullies, but even bullies recognize true predators. Your species' immediate aggressive stance has established you as a force to be reckoned with. And now they think we're part of your coalition, Jack said. Better than that, Calthor's scales shifted to bright blue. They think you're our enforcers. Only the most fearsome species are granted that status. 2 hours later, representatives from Earth's major powers gathered as Calthor explained the galactic political situation. So let me get this straight, the United African Federation ambassador said. Your entire coalition is based on who can make the best threats. Not exactly, Calthor corrected. It's about demonstrating protective capacity. Species that show immediate defensive aggression typically protect their allies with equal vigor. Admiral Ortiz cleared her throat. Supreme Commander Calthor, while we appreciate the vote of confidence, Earth has its own diplomatic approaches. We prefer negotiation over intimidation when possible. Ah yes, your deception strategy, Calthor nodded appreciatively. Appearing reasonable while maintaining devastating military capacity. Very effective. 6 months later, Jack found himself aboard a much more advanced vessel, approaching a planet designated Novice 3. Beside him stood Zara, now sporting the insignia of the newly formed interspecies diplomatic corps. I still can't believe this is my job now, Jack sighed. Making first contact by being deliberately intimidating. Look on the bright side, Zara replied. Earth's technological development has advanced by about a century since joining the coalition. And no one's actually attacked us since that first Kraxil encounter. On the planet's surface, the Icarians, crystalline beings that communicated through light pulses, gathered to meet them. Jack stepped forward and began. Greetings from Earth. We've calculated that with our current weaponry, we could reduce this entire settlement to dust in approximately 7.3 minutes. We've also calculated that a peaceful resolution would be 100% more beneficial to all parties. The Icarians' crystal structures pulsed rapidly before their leader stepped forward. Your reputation precedes you, humans. The Veldorians have chosen their enforcers well. We will cease operations on the protected moon immediately. Later, back on the ship, Jack collapsed into a chair. Another successful mission of threatening people we've just met. Zara sat beside him. And another conflict resolved without firing a shot. I'll take it. You know what the funniest part is? Jack mused. Humans aren't actually that aggressive compared to some species we've encountered. We just happen to make our first impression with an accidental threat. It's all about branding, Zara agreed. We've positioned ourselves as the galaxy's reasonable madmen. Diplomatic underneath but unpredictable enough that no one wants to test us. Little did they know that in a secure room on Earth, Admiral Ortiz was briefing world leaders on what she called the greatest bluff in human history. As long as they think we're crazy, she explained, no one tests us. And while they're busy being intimidated, we're learning everything we can about galactic technology, politics, and weaknesses. And when they eventually realize we're not actually eager to destroy everything, someone asked. Admiral Ortiz smiled. By then, we won't need to pretend anymore. Jack Frost stood before the United Galactic Council, 6 years after humanity's accidental first contact. The massive chamber housed representatives from over 50 species, many of whom still regarded humans with a mixture of fear and respect. The humans' request to address the council, announced the Veldorian moderator, Supreme Counselor Calthor, his scales now adorned with the medals of high office. Jack cleared his throat. Distinguished representatives, for 6 years, humanity has served as the coalition's enforcers. We've threatened precisely 117 species, started 0 actual conflicts, and helped maintain stability across 3 spiral arms of the galaxy. Today, we'd like to propose something radical. A new approach to galactic diplomacy. Murmurs rippled through the assembly. Beside Jack, Zara, now Earth's ambassador to the coalition, smiled encouragingly. The human threat strategy has proven effective, Jack continued, but we believe true stability comes not from fear, but understanding. We propose the formation of a galactic diplomatic corps, where communication specialists from all species work together to resolve conflicts before threats become necessary. A Kraxel representative's tentacles twitched angrily. This is absurd. The humans wish to abandon their enforcement duties now that they've acquired our technologies. Jack smiled. On the contrary. Earth will continue to fulfill our coalition obligations. We're simply suggesting that perhaps not every situation requires calculations of planetary destruction. Later, as the council debated, Jack, Zara and Admiral Ortiz waited in an antechamber. Think they'll go for it? Jack asked. They're terrified not to, Admiral Ortiz replied with a smirk. Nobody wants to find out what happens if they disappoint the crazy humans. When the council reconvened, they had reached a decision. The Galactic Diplomatic Corps would be established, under human supervision, naturally. No one quite trusted anyone else to handle diplomacy without the implicit threat of Earth's infamous mathematical destruction scenarios backing them up. As they left the chamber, Calthor pulled Jack aside. A clever strategy, Commander. Using fear to eventually render fear obsolete. Jack smiled. That was the plan all along. Was it really? Calthor's 4 eyes blinked skeptically. Of course not, Jack admitted. We stumbled into this entire situation because our computer sent a garbage disposal command. But sometimes the best plans are the ones you discover by accident. Retriclaude can make mistakes. Please double-check responses.